Let's do number 38. By hand, given that f of x is equal to 2x minus 1 over x minus 3, find an equation for the inverse function, f inverse of x. So the first step when finding the inverse function is to replace y with f of x. So we get y equals 2x minus 1 over x minus 3. The second step when finding the inverse function is to replace x with y and y with x. So you switch the x's and y's. So this is x equals 2y minus 1 over y minus 3. And the last step is to solve for y. So step 3 is to solve this for y. So we'll start by multiplying by y minus 3 to clear the fractions. So I'll put a y minus 3 on both sides. These cancel, and then here we can distribute the x. So we get yx minus, and then 3x. And then here we have 2y minus 1. Okay, so we're looking for y. So the goal is to get all of the y's on one side by themselves. So I'll subtract the 2y from both sides. So we get yx minus 2y minus 3x equals minus 1. And we almost have all of the y's on one side by themselves. So now we'll add the 3x. So plus 3x. So we get yx minus 2y equals 3x minus 1. Okay, we're finally at a point where we have all of the y's on themselves by themselves on one side. So what you can do now is pull out a y. You can factor out a y. So it looks like you would get x minus 2. Right, factoring out a y on the left-hand side. Then here we have 3x minus 1. To finish, you would just divide both sides by x minus 2, divide by x minus 2, and so we end up with y equals all of that stuff. So y is equal to 3x minus 1 over x minus 2. Now the problem wants us to write an equation for the inverse function. So the last thing to do would be to replace y with f inverse of x. So f inverse of x is equal to 3x minus 1 over x minus 2. And that is the final answer. I hope that made sense.